Joining us now, we are not worthy. He is the guy who has built not one, but two Super Bowl championship teams, longtime general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, the great John Schneider. Welcome. Future Hall of Famer John Schneider, too. Do you think about the Hall of Fame?
Easy, Sheriff.
No.
Jeez, man.
Listen, you built two separate Hall of Fame, not two separate Super Bowl championship teams. Do you ever think one of these days there is going to be a bronze likeness of myself in Canton, Ohio? Do you ever think about that?
No, I mean, I went to Ron Wolf's. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know,
And when you're there, you're thinking, hey, this would be nice if it's me one of these days?
Not necessarily, no. You know, you're kind of like, you just kind of go about your business, you know? It's kind of a...
Well, I mean, you've done it well.
I appreciate you saying that.
Not many guys have built...
It's an uncomfortable conversation you're putting
but you deserve credit for what you've created. Because, look, we all know the history. It was you and Pete Carroll coming in. And now Pete leaves, and here you are. You're running your show. And Pete said he deserved the chance to run the show, and you ran the show. And, I mean, you run it to the top of the mountain with a team that looks equipped. And I know every Super Bowl champion looks equipped to do it again.
Yeah.
But your team looks
equipped. I was just talking to Jason Light about that
They
last
look equipped
night.
to do it again.
Really, Mike, it's really, I was telling somebody earlier in 2005, we'd worked here before. Tracy, my wife, and I had worked in Seattle. So in 2000 with Coach Holmgren and Ted Thompson and Mike Reinfeldt and that group. And we left to go to Washington with Coach Schottenheimer at a very young age. And so we were there 8 months and got fired, but that's a different story. But,
I know that story well.
Yeah.
I've been around long enough. I've been around long enough to remember that story.
So, but like 2005, there was an opening with the Seahawks. I was hoping to get an interview, to get back there. I say that then obviously in 2010 coming in with Pete because there's so many amazing foundational people in that building. The Dave Pearsons, the Eric Kennedys, Sam Ramsden, Mo Kelly. Chuck Arnold, our president, was a ticketing intern. It's one of those organizations that has the foundational people in the structure to be able to do your job at a high level, take care of the coaches, take care of the players.
I didn't plan to go in this direction, but you've taken me there because I said last week very loudly, very clearly once it was announced the team's for sale, this is like one of those houses where it's turnkey. You walk in, you don't need to do anything, and this is the best possible thing that someone can buy. But the reality is we have no idea who's going to buy the team. How do you, as somebody who's leading the football operation, keep everyone from freaking out about what's going to happen next? Because there has to be a level of anxiety. We have no idea who's going to buy this team. We have no idea what they're going to do. Sure.
I mean, I had a great talk with Jody last week. It's all about like, hey, let's go for it. Let's go win another one. So we have no idea on timing and all that. At the appropriate time or whatever, I know my role is going to be like to, just get to know the whoever, the ownership group or whatever, and just kind of educate them on how this place has been humming, and how we've been running. And I don't say that like in an arrogant way. I say it in a manner of, like I said, like I'm being serious. Those people, like the foundational people, like it's been happening. There's a reason that Pete and I were able to have as much success as we had, and Coach Holmgren and his group and going to the Super Bowl. I know they lost to Pittsburgh, but they were doing a lot of winning there for a long time.
Is it your expectation, and I hadn't thought of this, like you're going to be meeting with the different groups if people are going to come to the facility and just basically look around the house?
I have no idea. I've never been through it. Yeah. I was gonna talk to George Payton about it down here. I don't know what it looks like.
Well, and it's coming. It's coming. I mean, the process has begun. We have no idea what the timetable is, but we know it's started.
Right.
So how long do you take to celebrate? Because, boom, we're right back at it 2 weeks later. Yeah. 2 weeks later. The parade was less than 2 weeks ago, and we're here in Indy. How long do you allow yourself to celebrate after the Super Bowl win?
We were interviewing offensive coordinator candidates the Thursday, the day after the parade. We interviewed two guys, Mike and Coach Frazier and myself and a couple other guys. But yeah, it's really like a constant. It never really stops. We had great free agency meetings, before the end of the season. The college scouts those guys have been killing it. Really, personally, for me, it's going to be disciplining myself to, have that private time on the weekends to be able to study and get caught up on the college part of it. But we're down here this week to figure out what's going on with free agency, and that's moving.
So you had no time to celebrate the parade.
I mean, my wife and I had a cool weekend this last weekend, before we came down. So yeah.
But that's the thing. Whether you win, whether you lose, it doesn't matter. It just keeps going, and the process never ends. And there's always something
and the
to deal with.
finality of it too, right? So you forget. I forgot what that feeling was like. When you have your last football game, whether it's not like last year, not making the playoffs, and it's like, all right, we're on our way to the Senior Bowl, like let's get ripping, and the same thing is this year. It just happens to be a little bit later, and then to your point, like how do you celebrate? You kind of start looking back, like because you're so in the moment, you're thinking to yourself, holy smokes, man, we won a lot of games. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you kind of look back on things like a little bit like that, but. The parade was amazing, and there was like a million people out there. And I was just so happy for people of Seattle and all the 12s. It was fun.
It was good they did the celebration at the stadium before the parade.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
Yes.
It would have been more entertaining after.
And we did it last time we did it, and it was freezing too. And so we had some fairly intoxicated players that were freezing.
The night before the Super Bowl, what was your level of confidence, 1 to 10, that you guys were going to win the game?
I'm an anxious person, so I was like right at 5. I remember thinking when we played in New York, like our players, Cam and Earl and Sherman, all those guys were so confident, and they're like, "What are you worried about, boss? Like we're gonna kick their butt." I'm like, "You guys, it's like the #1 offense in the history of football." Like they were so confident, and then they went out there and did it. They in a super strong manner, and then. Then the next year with the Patriots was like, we had the Green Bay game. So I was like, like where are we at right now with this team? And obviously the way that, that way that game went was just like I felt like kind of that same level of confidence both Patriot games. Like I don't know. I love our team, but
anything can happen.
I listened to you guys talk about it. Like, yeah, it's the truth. Like, any given Sunday, like.
Your listeners talk about what? I'm curious. I'm curious what you've listened to that we talked about.
I think it was basically like if they played 10 times, they could win it 7 times.
Yeah.
But
I said if these two teams played 10 times, the Patriots wouldn't have won once. That's what I ultimately said after the game. I believe I picked the Patriots to win the game because I thought it was going to be close.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be close, and I thought Vrabel was going to come up with something because he's always got something up his sleeve, and he was going to come up with something in some key moment that may not even been obvious to somebody paying attention, and he was going to steal the game that way.
Yeah. No,
but after I watched the game, it felt like I grew up in the 70s, and it felt like one of those 70s era. Why are these two teams on the same field? Like when the Vikings would play, like why are the Vikings even in this game? They shouldn't even be in this game.
Yeah.
And they would never beat this team anywhere, anytime, anyhow. That's what it felt like to me.
Well, it never feels like that when you're with the clubs.
Yeah.
Really, because you're constantly concerned about this, you're concerned about that, you're worried about a lot.
What was the biggest similarity and difference between the Super Bowl 48 champions and the Super Bowl 60 champions?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot. 48, those guys were very much chip on their shoulder, me against the world. Like Sherm, mad at me because, we didn't take him around higher. Or, Marshawn upset that we didn't trade for him earlier. Or, like those guys were very much like they were very together. There's no question about it. They were super swaggy. But they were like, us against the world. These guys aren't like that. They're more concerned about, like they're really connected, playing for each other, very confident, but not necessarily maybe as loud as those guys were,
And that phrase "chasing edges" that Coach McDonald uses, where does that come from? Where did that come from? And give me your understanding of what it means.
Yeah. So. When Jody challenged us with, going out and finding the next head coach, she was like, "Hey, I want to keep our culture. Like, what's important to you, Jody?" And she's very much, stated, "I want to keep the same culture, but I want to be, on the forefront. We want to be out in front. We want to be like, how can this team, we set our goals on being the best, sports franchise in the next 10 years. What does that look like? Like 10 years from now, if we are the best sports franchise, what does that look like?" And with Pete, it was like we had this saying, what's next? And so that's really for Mike. It was like, hey, what are we doing every single day to be on the forefront, to be cutting edge, to be out ahead of. I mean, you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is to win one game in the National Football League, and that's every part of your organization. That's sports science, it's analytics. It's the grounds crew, it's our cafeteria, it's sleep science, it's everything.
It's finding that one little bit here, that one little bit there, and they all stack up eventually, and it creates the difference, and you win the game. Basically, and it's hard to do because everybody else is doing the same damn thing.
Right.
And they all have equivalent resources.
Exactly.
Running back position. We've been talking about it a lot. There's a lot of free agent, relatively big name guys coming up. You have one of them in the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker III. There's been talk about franchise tag. I saw a report last week. It's unlikely you guys are going to use it. How do you balance allocation of resources when you've got a position where the supply, I believe, outweighs demand? You've got rookies you could draft. You use second-round pick to get Walker, second-round pick to get Zach Charbonnet. You could go sign somebody else who's a free agent. Like, how do you separate from this guy's Super Bowl MVP? He means a lot to the team, means a lot to the fans, but we got to make a business decision. How hard is that for you to do?
It's difficult, but it's what we do. We love Ken. I mean, it was really rough situation there with Zach. Zach was having a great season. To have that kind of injury that late in the season, and those guys are really close. So, and then obviously Ken had a great playoff run, Super Bowl MVP, all that. Like the position itself, I hear what you're saying. It's really more about, okay, what is our 70? Like, what does our collective look like? And then how do we maneuver through that so where these guys could be as connected as we were last year, and then fitting that into whether it's trading for a player or just trying to help your team in any manner you possibly can, whether that's extensions, free agency, the whole. That's why we're here. I mean, like I said, this week it's all about landscape. Like, what's this going to look like, and what are the starting points, and how do we put this together? And that's it's the most fun and most challenging thing of one of the most challenging things we do, and then being able to pivot if you have to and make different decisions.
Do you think Walker will be back?
I hope so. I really do. Yeah.
And is the report accurate that the tag's unlikely to be used?
That's good. Nice. I like where your head's at. That's good. I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
All right. I'm just asking.
Yeah. No, it's good.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's good.
Got to ask it.
Yeah.
Got to ask a question. It's on the card, so I got to ask it.
I see it over there.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you all of them when I'm done. What do you think about the Rams' proposal in reaction to that crazy two-point play? And I don't know if you've seen the details. We reported yesterday they want a backward pass that's deflected by a defensive player and goes beyond the line of scrimmage to be treated like a fumble. So if it's on a conversion play, only the quarterback, only the person who fumbled can recover it.
I think we were presented with it this morning in our meetings, and I'm sure we'll continue to study it. It was a confusing time. I mean, I personally didn't know what was going on with it. We'll see where it goes at the owners' meetings coming up here in a month.
Yeah, and look, what's the chance of it happening again in our lifetimes?
Yeah,
that same thing.
Yeah,
it's the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah.
Trying to keep him.
Absolutely. Yep. Rashid came in, and we have 2 draft choices for him, and he came in, fit into the culture right away. Was a huge difference maker for us. Incredible guy. We should have had him higher on our board when he was coming out. He really influenced our season in a big manner.
That was a huge trade. Huge in-season trade. Plugged him right in. He made, it's not like he had big numbers, but there were big moments.
Yeah.
Playoff game against the 49ers, the down 16 against the Rams, the kick return the punt return for the touchdown. Got the special teams coordinator fired, but he didn't try to. That's okay. That happens. But it's just amazing the impact that he had.
He did. It was pretty cool to be able to talk to him about, when we were in Green Bay and we had signed Desmond Howard and the impact he had for us, and like what that looked like down the stretch that year. And he ends up being a Super Bowl MVP.
You've already let a Super Bowl MVP walk away as a free agent. I forgot about that.
How about Malcolm Smith and Chenna? That's pretty cool. 2 USC guys getting pick sixes.
I like how you change. I like how you change the.
Yeah, well,
you change the subject.
I don't do this for a living, but
when did you leave the Seahawks?
You're
the first
really good
time?
at your job. So
when did you leave this? Say that again. Say that again, and say, "Hey, Rick Cordella, are you paying attention?" When did you leave the Seahawks the first time?
2000. We went to.
And we went to Washington.
Yep.
But then did you come back again?
No, I went to
Before
Green Bay.
2010? Okay, you went to Green
back to
Bay.
Green Bay
All right.
for about 8 years. Yep.
I was trying to think if you were in Seattle when the Sean Alexander contract was done, because I see parallels.
No.
Because they gave Sean Alexander that huge market value contract, and then a year later it's like, what are we doing here? And I think that's one of the challenges when you have a great running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you pay him that big money and hope that he keeps playing at that same level?
Obviously we look at the quarterback position and like how hard it is to play that position, right? Mentally, physically. But the running back position is like, these guys are, you've seen the studies where these guys, the toll it takes on their bodies
is incredible.
Yeah, and these guys are just, it's a hard position to play.
Well, I could keep going all afternoon. You have things to do. I don't have many things to do, but you got more to do than I do. You got to go. You got to go try to win another Super Bowl so you can get to the Hall of Fame. I'll be there. Can I come to the party when you get in? If I'm still alive, I'm still alive when you make it to the Hall of Fame.
That's like bad. Like, why would you?
If I'm still alive when you make it to the Hall of Fame, am I invited to the party?
I'm not even.
All right.
We're done with this conversation.
John Schneider, Super Bowl champion, GM. More from the Combine right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.